In my past life, my sister and I crossed over into the beast realm together. To survive in this world, we consumed transformation pills. My sister became a fertile rabbit maiden, favored by the beast king in his harem, yet ultimately fell victim to palace intrigues. I became a blessed koi fish, ordained by the beast king as the sacred maiden second only to him, reigning above all beasts. I went to visit the cold palace, only to be tricked by my sister into drinking poison wine, perishing together with her in the blazing flames. When I opened my eyes again, my sister had already snatched the elixir that transformed into a golden koi. Let little sister have the honor of entering the palace instead. Stroking the rabbit ears that sprouted after taking the elixir, I smiled. Dear sister, do you know how lucky koi actually bestows blessings? Here are 2 transformation pills. The green one turns you into a bunny girl, the red transforms you into a koi. The choice is yours. The speaker was the first beastman we encountered in this realm, none other than Cedric, the high priest of the beast world. My sister and I found ourselves transported to the beastman's world, landing precisely at their sacred altar. After discovering us, Cedric offered this choice and kindly explained that becoming a bunny girl would grant us entry into the Beast King's harem. In my past life, watching Cedric effortlessly produce the transformation pill, I grew hesitant and wanted to discuss it further with my sister, yet my sister swiftly swallowed the bunny girl pill without hesitation. All those years reading palace intrigue novels are finally paying off. Seeing my hesitation, my sister let out a mocking laugh. What? You think you can compete with me? With that brain of yours, you wouldn't survive 3 episodes in a palace drama. 1. Don't worry, once I make it big, I'll make you my personal maid. I won't treat you badly. Yet after entering the palace, she made many enemies. Despite multiple pregnancies, she never successfully delivered a healthy beastkin child. Repeated childbirth not only wrecked her body but shattered her mind, driving her increasingly erratic in speech and behavior until the Beast King, pushed beyond endurance, banished her to the cold palace. Yet I, blessed as the koi's chosen, was enshrined as the beast realm's holy maiden, a position of supreme honor. Buried under mounting responsibilities back then, I never noticed my sister's festering jealousy toward me, so when my sister snatched the koi pearl from the high priest's hands like a starving beast, I knew she'd been reborn too. Rather than serving the emperor in the palace, I'd rather use my own strength to help more people. Watching her impassioned display, I chuckled to myself. She's clearly power-hungry, yet still spouts nonsense about blessing the masses. Pity, my foolish sister, these koi blessings were never meant for the common folk of the beast realm. I swallowed the bunny elixir, and its effects kicked in almost instantly. When my sister spotted the rabbit ears sprouting from my head, she tried, and failed, to hide her smirk. Just as my sister was about to take the koi elixir, Cedric stopped her. Think carefully. Once you swallow this, there's no turning back. The tenderness in Cedric's eyes suddenly made me realize how my notoriously brash sister had survived this long in the Beast King's harem. In my past life, when I swallowed the koi elixir, this so-called kind-hearted high priest didn't utter a single warning. Instead, when I was imprisoned and begged for his help, he responded with icy indifference. Fate is decreed by heaven, not to be forced. Yet when my sister was confined to the cold palace, he stormed into the hall of annual prayers, demanding I find a way to free her, or he'd cut off my life-extending elixirs. But alas, Cedric's foolish devotion was doomed to be unrequited. I leaned close to my sister and whispered to her, "Sis, I think the priest has taken a liking to you. His eyes haven't left you since we arrived." With their keen hearing, Cedric clearly caught my words, though his face remained composed. His ears turned crimson. My sister glanced at his flushed ears and let out a derisive chuckle. In a place like this, how dare some nobody even dream of courting me? My sister, proud of her beauty, had always looked down on plain-looking people. Though Cedric carried himself with extraordinary grace, his appearance was at best unremarkable. Hearing my sister's words, Cedric turned pale. Without another word, he waited until she took the elixir before having us escorted to the royal palace. Upon entering the palace, instead of being taken to the resplendent floral palace where my sister had lived in her past life, I was brought to a rather dilapidated hall, the Phoenix Flame Pavilion. It seems even my sister's previous residence was arranged by Cedric. Since Cedric is so devoted to my sister, I must find a way to help these lovebirds unite. I changed into a fitted bandeau dress that barely covered my thighs. Layering it with sheer white fabric, the ensemble looked both innocent and seductive. In my past life, I'd gathered intel on the Beast King's preferences to secure my sister's favor, so I know his quirks like the back of my hand. As I pondered how to further pique the Beast King's interest, my eyes suddenly fell upon an ancient zither tucked beneath the lowest shelf of the flower stand. Strangely, though hidden away, the instrument was immaculately clean, clearly maintained with regular care, though its previous owner remained a mystery. This discovery proved most fortuitous for my purposes. Before ascending the throne, the Beast King had a beloved, a rabbit-eared maiden said to have come from another world, renowned for her zither mastery. She met an untimely demise after but a few years. Could she have been the former mistress of Phoenix Flame Palace? No time for further speculation. The Beast King's arrival was imminent. My fingers found the zither strings, drawing forth a gentle melody. I closed my eyes, feigning immersion in the Guccine's melody while forcing myself to ignore the scorching presence creeping up behind me. As the final note faded, I rested my palms on the strings and slowly opened my eyes, pretending to only now notice the Beast King's arrival. With a startled gasp, I hastily rose to bow. The Beast King lounged on the divan, tilting my chin up with one finger as his gaze raked over my attire, amusement flickering in his eyes. Quite the pretty face. Aren't you afraid of your king? Orcs resemble humans in appearance, but retain certain bestial features. The Beast King, being of the Tiger clan, bears faint tribal markings on his forehead that signify his status, with a fluffy tail swaying occasionally behind him. I shook my head gently, my eyes brimming with admiration. I came here trembling with fear, yet somehow my heart feels so warm in your presence, as if we've known each other forever. Summoning my courage, I reached for his hand. If you don't believe me, just feel it for yourself. The Beast King's grin widened as he yanked me forcefully into his embrace. Otherworldly women before you cowered like mice, struck dumb at the sight of me. You're different. The altar in the beast realm could bridge dimensions, summoning women from other worlds every 5 years, a fact known only to the royal beastkin, though I shouldn't have been aware of it. I feigned surprise. Do women from other worlds often come here? The Beast King's doubtful look faded slightly as he chuckled, but didn't answer my question. Taking the hint, I stopped asking and draped one arm around his neck while tracing circles on his chest with the other. My king, this is our first meeting. Must we waste it on such dull matters? When I awoke again, the sun was already high the next day. The beast servants who'd treated me coldly yesterday now swarmed around with feigned concern the moment I stirred. Their clamoring gave me a headache. Just as I raised my hand to dismiss them, my elder sister arrived. Unlike yesterday's lightweight palace attire, elder sister now wore a crimson Ruchuan dress, its wide-sleeved outer robe embroidered with golden koi patterns, the hem adorned with countless luminous pearls. The beast servants surrounding me immediately rose to pay their respects. Greetings, holy maiden. My sister tilted her chin upward with regal poise. All of you, leave us. I need to speak with my sister privately. As the beastly servants shut the chamber doors, my sister approached me. With a sharp tug, she yanked open my collar, her eyes burning with envy at the crimson marks along my neck. I slapped her hand away and straightened my collar. Stop playing innocent. Spending the whole night with the Beast King, what a privilege wasted on you. Hearing the undisguised jealousy in her tone, I raised an eyebrow. Could it be she actually has feelings for the Beast King? I lowered my head and touched my neck. Feigning shyness, His Majesty was quite taken with me yesterday. Elder sister let out a disdainful snort. So what? His Majesty will belong to me alone from now on. If you admire His Majesty so much, sister, why not become a bunny girl, too? My sister curled her lips, looking at me as if I were an idiot. What do you know? The unattainable is always the most desirable. That rabbit girl is nothing but a breeding tool. I'm warning you, don't even think about scheming. Focus on bearing heirs for me and the king, or I'll make sure you don't survive in this harem. My sister overestimates herself. Does she really think the Beast King made her a holy maiden out of admiration? Beauty without brains, she'll only become a plaything and livestock. Yes, livestock. In her past life, my sister was so consumed by harem intrigues that she never pondered where her stillborn deformed children ultimately ended up. After my sister's first stillbirth, I went to visit only to witness the Beast King carrying the fetus into his study. When I entered, the corpse had vanished, only the metallic tang of blood lingered. What chilled me most was the faint blood stain smeared across the Beast King's lips. I stammered some excuse and fled, retching violently upon returning to my chambers. Later, through secret research of Beastkin archives, I learned that women from other worlds possess unique physiology. Those who transform into rabbit girls become exceptionally fertile, their stillborn young considered potent tonics. Those who become koi maidens can purify the Beastkin blood curse using their heart's blood as catalyst. My sister and I weren't the first to cross into the beast realm, nor will we be the last. The altar in the beast realm holds an ancient ritual that summons a pair of sisters every 5 years. When I learned the truth, I tried to escape with my sister, but the Watchers caught us and reported to the Beast King. The torture I endured still chills me to the bone when I remember it. Watching my sister basking in self-satisfaction while fantasizing about her perfect future, a slow smile crept across my lips. Then I wish you swift success in merging with the Beast King, dear sister. After my sister finished her gloating and departed, I sat swaying gently on the garden swing beneath the flower trellis, Closing my eyes to relax, suddenly, I sensed eyes upon me. Looking up, I caught only a fleeting glimpse of a panicked blue figure darting away, the butterfly wings on her back marking her heritage, though curiously smaller than others of her kind, as if a piece had been torn away. I didn't pay her much attention, assuming she was just another sycophant too timid to approach me. I had the guqin brought out and began playing beneath the floral trellis, apparently. The previous rabbit girl still holds some sway over the Beast King's heart. Our only common ground is this musical skill. To keep his favor, I must practice daily. As I bent over the instrument, that gaze found me again. When she looked up again, I caught her red-handed. Her eyes held panic and regret, but mostly nostalgia. Could it be that this butterfly maiden was acquainted with the former rabbit maiden? Just as I raised my hand to beckon her closer, she turned and fled once more, shaking my head. I started to rise when my foot slipped. The guqin nearly toppled to the floor, but I caught its edge just in time. As my fingers brushed against it, I suddenly noticed a hollow space along its side, likely a hidden compartment. After some fiddling, I pried open the hidden compartment and found a letter along with an indenture contract inside. The letter's contents confirmed that the previous rabbit girl was the true owner of this guqin. The letter was brief, a farewell note from the rabbit girl to a beastkin named Yara. Dear Yara, I'm leaving now. Don't be sad, I'm going home to find Mom and Dad. I've secured your emancipation papers. From now on, you'll be a free little butterfly. I carefully tucked the envelope away, returning it to its hidden compartment. Home, there's no going back now. Feeling rather downcast, I dismissed the beast servant's assistants and carried the guqin back to the inner chamber myself. Shortly after returning to the inner chamber, a beast servant entered bearing tonic. Glancing up, I recognized the same peculiar butterfly maiden from earlier. Oh, really? Her expression was visibly tense, her hands trembling noticeably as she held the medicine bowl. I took the bowl from her, barely suppressing a laugh at her growing panic. Who on earth sent such an obvious amateur to poison me? I dismissed all the beast servants from the hall, once the doors closed. I casually set the medicine aside. Speak, who sent you? Or should I ask, who ordered you to poison me? The butterfly maiden dropped to her knees in panic. No, my lord, this medicine contains no poison, I swear. Oh, I tapped the medicine bowl. If it's not poisoned, then why don't you drink it? The butterfly maiden nodded and downed the medicine in one gulp, seeing no signs of poisoning. I took the bowl and sniffed. It smelled of devouring blossom. The beastkin nobility use soulwither blooms for contraception, but they're prohibitively expensive. Even if the other concubines despise me, would they really invest that much just to spite me? Did you lace this soup with soulwither blooms? Do you realize assassinating royal blood means your own death? You know about soulwither blooms. You're not from this world. Realizing her slip of tongue, the butterfly maiden hastily covered her mouth. Only the royal family and the high priest know our true identities. A mere beast servant like her shouldn't have this knowledge. Unless, your name is Yara. Yara covered her mouth, her face a portrait of shock. I retrieved the letter from its hidden compartment and handed it to Yara. She accepted it with confusion, her expression shifting from surprise to sorrow. Tears fell drop by drop, a few staining the letter paper before she carefully wiped them away. 3. Sister Luna. After calming down, Yara told me the story between her and the former rabbit girl, Luna. Luna was gifted to the current beast king upon arriving in the beast realm. Innocent and kind-hearted, she never treated others differently based on status. When Yara, strikingly beautiful, was nearly assaulted and lost part of her wing during resistance, it was Luna who saved her at death's door. Luna brought her back to the royal manor and cared for her tenderly, like her own little sister. As she spoke, Yara's face was filled with remorse, but after discovering the truth, I was too cowardly to tell my sister immediately. After Luna's first child was born, the frail infant passed away after just a few whimpers. The Beast King took the body, and the next day, his prolonged illness miraculously vanished. Suspicious. Yara secretly visited the graveyard at night, only to find the child's grave empty. Yara wrestled with the truth for a long time, yet couldn't bring herself to tell Luna. First, she feared the Beast King might kill her in a fit of rage for leaking secrets. Second, she worried about Luna, who had been open about her true identity. Yara agonized over how Luna would survive in this strange land if she fell out with the Beast King over this, but in the end, Luna found out. The consecutive loss of 5 children, compounded by her lover's betrayal, made continuing in this world unbearable for her. I figured if we prevented you otherworldly women from bearing children, you'd remain safe. That's why I devised this solution. I shook my head gently. Do you think they'd keep supplying those tonics if I failed to bear a child? Yara turned pale, though I hate to admit it, Luna's remains must be. Before I could finish, Yara bolted out, at nightfall. Yara returned in utter despair, her fingers caked with mud and eyes swollen red from prolonged weeping. It's empty. I wiped her face clean with a damp cloth. Grief is futile now. Only blood can honor the dead. This royal family is rotten to the core. Every last one of them has innocent blood on their hands. Will you be my ally and help me overthrow them?" I extended my hand to Yara. After a long hesitation, she grasped it firmly. With Yara's assistance, I perfected my impersonation of Luna, swiftly becoming the Beast King's favorite. The growing malice in my sister's eyes told me the moment had come. Just a few days later, Yara told me my sister had been seeing Cedric quite often. After all those cruel words my sister said, I never expected Cedric would still help her. How utterly devoted. Well then, I'll make sure they get what they deserve. As dusk fell, I rested alone in the inner chamber when a strange fragrance wafted through the air, instinctively holding my breath. I grabbed a damp cloth nearby and pressed it over my nose and mouth. Moments later, the chamber door creaked open. I concealed the cloth and feigned unconsciousness. The intruder roughly tore open the buttons at my collar. "If it weren't for Ember, I wouldn't even lay a finger on you." That voice, it's Cedric. As he leaned down toward me, I swiftly drew a silver needle and plunged it into his neck. "How could you?" Before he could finish, he lost consciousness. I carried him to the bed just as another noise came from the doorway. Yara barged in, carrying my sister over her shoulder. Knowing my sister's temperament all too well, she'd never report me to the Beast King without seeing me entangled with Cedric firsthand. I had Yara lie in wait. The moment my sister appeared, Yara dosed her with butterfly powder to knock her out. I arranged them both on the bed, not only stripping them bare but also thoughtfully drawing the bed curtains. Naturally, I made sure to tear their clothes into shreds to mimic the frenzy of passion. Finally, I lit the aphrodisiac incense they'd brought themselves before making my discreet exit. With the pastries Yara had prepared earlier in hand, I headed straight for the Beast King's study. "My lord, I specially learned to make these pastries for you. Spent the whole afternoon on them. You simply must try a few more pieces." After coaxing the Beast King into eating several drugged pastries, I took his hand and pouted playfully. "My king, I've just mastered some new melodies. Won't you visit my chambers tonight to hear them?" Mistaking this for mere flirtation, the Beast King readily agreed. Upon reaching the inner chamber, I found its doors tightly shut. With a smile, I pushed them open, only for lewd moans to instantly drain the color from my face. My trembling hands tried to close the doors, but the Beast King shoved them wide open. "How dare you defile my royal harem with such filth?" The entwined pair paid us no mind. The beast's guttural growls and the woman's breathless whimpers only grew louder. I hid behind the Beast King, murmuring under my breath, "That voice, sister, no, it can't be." Hearing my words, the Beast King flew into a greater rage. He stormed to the bedside and yanked down the curtains, startling the entangled pair who struggled to separate despite their sudden sobriety. Moments later, the two knelt on the floor still wrapped in the bedsheet. The sister, her face deathly pale, crawled to the Beast King's side, desperately pleading her innocence. "Your Majesty, please believe me. I swear I don't know how this happened." Though looking rather disheveled, wrapped only in a blanket, Cedric remained remarkably composed, even showing traces of delight. "This must be foul play, Your Majesty. Saintess Vivian and I would never. Someone must have drugged us." "Who do you think framed you?" Cedric stared straight at me. "Lady Vivian, would you care to explain why the Saintess and I appeared in your chambers?" My face showed nothing but shock and indignation. "Surely you don't think I was the one who kidnapped you both?" I dropped to my knees before the Beast King. "Your Majesty, you must defend my honor. The High Priest is a Bear tribesman, strong and formidable. How could someone like me possibly drag him from the altar to my chambers?" Before Cedric could offer further explanation, Yara stepped forward. "Your Majesty, this humble servant must report something. The High Priest has been lingering nearby these past days. Since her ladyship was brought to the palace by him, I assumed he wished to discuss matters with her, but today's events suggest otherwise." Cedric remained silent, unable to explain his lingering presence. I covered my mouth in shock, then sniffed lightly with a puzzled tone in my voice. "This incense. It's not the fragrance I normally use." For Yara brought over the incense burner. The Beast King noticed the altar-specific patterns on its base and hurled it at Cedric. "Was this stolen by Vivian too?" Seeing the situation was hopeless, the elder sister hastily shifted all blame onto Cedric. "Your Majesty, it must be him. He lusted after my sister and tried to assault her, but things went awry. Little sister, it's because of you that I've met with this misfortune." My sister wept while giving me meaningful looks. Seeing I wasn't reacting, she crawled to my side on her knees and discreetly pinched me. Taking her cue, I pleaded for mercy before the king. Cedric looked utterly devastated after his beloved's false accusation. With a bitter chuckle, he lowered his head in despair. "I was blinded by lust. There's no defense for my actions." The Beast King ordered his immediate execution at dawn, as guards dragged him away. His eyes remained locked on his sister, who turned her back in guilt, refusing him even a final glance. After lulling the Beast King to sleep with incense, I smuggled Yara into the death row cells. The dungeon reeked of damp decay, a place orcs loathed. Cedric huddled in a corner, gazing at the moon through barred windows. His ears twitched at my footsteps, yet he kept his back turned. Well, if it isn't the almighty high priest. How's the death row treating you? How does it feel to be slandered by the one you love? Perhaps my mocking tone struck a nerve again. He lunged forward, slamming the cell bars violently, his eyes bloodshot as if bleeding, and roared hoarsely, I thought all women from your world were as pure and kind as Ember. Who knew you'd be so scheming? But mark my words, you'll get what's coming to you. I nearly laughed in exasperation at his words. So Ember conspiring with him to frame me counts as innocent kindness. While my counterattack makes me some scheming villain. Oh, then why did your virtuous saintess claim she was coerced by you? She, Cedric lowered his head, stammering for a long moment before suddenly appearing to recall something. She was just protecting herself. She did nothing wrong. He kept repeating it until he finally convinced himself. Damn right. She had no choice. You would have gotten her killed. TCH. I clicked my tongue in irritation. No reasoning with love-struck fools. Since you're so fond of my sister, I'll grant you this wish. After your death, I'll ensure your remains reach her, that way you can watch over her forever. He was tempted. What's your price? Tell me how to destroy the altar's ritual array. Cedric staggered back in shock. How could you know? No, I can't tell you. The Beast King distrusts you so much, yet you still pledge loyalty. Think about your sister. As long as he lives, she's doomed. The mention of his sister made Cedric hesitate visibly. Seizing the moment, I pressed my advantage. You probably don't realize that a deflowered koi's blood gradually loses its potency. From now on, sister will just be nourishment. What's more, sister likely already carries your child in her womb. Finally, Cedric nodded. After obtaining the method to dismantle the array, I smiled and handed him a vial of poison. Only the dead can keep secrets. As I stepped out of the death row dungeon heading back to the Flamewind Hall, a chilling voice stopped me in my tracks. What brings you to the execution grounds, little sister? Turning around, I saw my elder sister approaching from afar. Yara grew visibly tense, so I gave her hand a reassuring pat. Our purposes here are surely the same, dear sister. My sister stormed over with fury in her eyes and slapped me hard across the face. So it was you, you wretched woman. You conspired with him to ruin my reputation. I covered my cheek and took a step back. What on earth are you talking about, sister? Before I could explain further, my sister dragged me straight toward the Flamewind Hall. You wretch, let's see how you'll weasel your way out of this when we stand before the king. My sister flung the hall doors open violently, shoving me to the ground and knocking over several vases. The shattering porcelain startled the slumbering Beast King awake. Forcibly roused, the Beast King staggered out with a splitting headache, his expression darkening further at the chaotic scene before him. What are you doing, Your Majesty? It was her. She conspired with the High Priest to ruin my reputation. As I shook my head in denial, my sister shoved me again. Still lying. I saw you visiting him in the dungeon with my own eyes. I lowered my head in silence as the Beast King seized my throat. His grip crushed my windpipe. Tears streaming down to splatter against his hand. When he finally released me after what felt like an eternity, I collapsed to the floor, coughing violently before regaining my breath. My sister watched with a smile as I nearly choked to death, her eyes brimming with pure malice. Your Majesty, this vile woman has likely been conspiring with the High Priest all along. You mustn't let her escape punishment. I desperately tried to explain myself to the Beast King. No, my lord. You alone hold my heart. Tonight, I went for my sister's sake. My sister's smile froze, her eyes darting away uneasily. What nonsense are you spouting? I untied my sash, let my outer robe slip, and pointed at the bruises marking my skin. Back then, my sister forced me to testify for him. Though I had doubts in my heart, I chose to lie for her sake. But the more I thought about it afterward, the more uneasy I felt. That's why I sought the High Priest to uncover the truth. The High Priest told me it was my sister who sent him to humiliate me. By sheer coincidence, I had gone to deliver pastries to His Majesty, so he mistook my sister, who came to spy for me. I watched as my sister sobbed and said, "But she is still my sister after all." I had intended to keep this matter hidden, that's why I remained silent. The Beast King eyed the bruises on my waist, clearly convinced for the most part. My sister was still resisting. This is all your fabrication. Where's your proof? With a sigh, I pulled out a fish-patterned jade pendant from my robe and handed it to the Beast King. The High Priest entrusted this to me, saying he had failed His Majesty. This jade pendant was bestowed upon my sister by the king when she was ordained as the Sacred Maiden. I took it when I drugged them. The moment my sister saw it, her face turned deathly pale as she collapsed to her knees. The Beast King had her taken away and imprisoned. I knew then that my sister's days as the sacred maiden were over. I'd expected her to be drained of all her heart's blood, yet within 5 days came the shocking news. My sister was with child. The Beast Realm treasures every pregnancy given their rarity. Even women from other worlds are protected, and none would harm their children unless stillborn. Especially since my sister carries the High Priest's heir. Koi pregnancies last merely a month. In just 20 days, her belly swelled unnaturally large, and she strutted into my hall to flaunt it. "Aren't you a rabbit girl? What's taking you so long to conceive? Or is there something wrong with you?" I kept sipping the tonic soup from my bowl, ignoring her completely. She snatched the bowl from me and downed it in one gulp, licking her lips afterward with obvious relish. "You think you're worthy of drinking such delicious tonic soup?" Seeing the completely empty bowl, I nearly burst out laughing. "If sister likes them, I'll have them delivered to you every day from now on." Seeing my obedient demeanor, sister nodded in satisfaction. "These treasures rightfully belong to me." 5. She left contentedly only after ransacking my chambers for gold and jewels. After she left, I casually instructed Yara, "Have the kitchen prepare daily broth for her, and make sure she drinks every drop." "Sister, you seem quite fond of your lover. Let me help you two become one." Permanently. 10 days later, my sister gave birth to 3 bear cubs, all stillborn, without exception. When I went to see her, she had just woken up. The room reeked of blood, and I instinctively covered my nose in discomfort. "Sis, you're awake." Her hand brushed across the empty bed. "Where's my baby?" I handed her a bowl of soup, which she gulped down ravenously. Childbirth had clearly taken a toll on her strength. "Haven't congratulated you yet, sis. You're amazing, delivering triplets in one go." Though what? Her spoon froze midair as she fixed me with a deathly stare. "Where's my child? Give me back my baby." I smiled and pointed at the soup bowl. "None of those 3 survived though. Besides, haven't I already given you your child?" My sister stared at the meat at the bottom of the soup bowl and suddenly let out a piercing scream. "My child? Oh, my baby." She collapsed over the bedside, desperately trying to vomit up the soup she'd just swallowed. The stench of sweat, blood, and the acidic tang of vomit became unbearable. I waved my hand before my nose and backed further away. "By the way, I forgot to mention those tonic soups you've been drinking daily were all made from the High Priest. You consumed him, then devoured his offspring. Do you really think the High Priest will let this slide?" By the time the Beast King arrived, my sister had completely lost her mind, disheveled and crouching by the bed. She'd shriek at anyone who approached. The Beast King looked at her with utter disgust, eager to leave immediately. As he pulled me away, my sister suddenly lunged at us with a knife. I shielded the Beast King with my body, twisting to protect my vital spots. "Your Majesty, look out." The dagger sliced my arm. As darkness claimed me, I smiled seeing the panicked Beast King and my subdued sister. Mission accomplished. I awoke to find the Beast King gripping my hand tightly at my bedside. "Vivian, we're going to have a baby." With joyful surprise, I gently caressed my belly while leaning against the Beast King's chest. Of course I knew I was pregnant. As a rabbit girl, my body is highly fertile. Just 3 days off contraceptives showed clear signs. Were it not for the devouring blossom, I'd likely have conceived 3 or 4 times by now. "My king, we'll surely have the strongest litter of pups, won't we?" The Beast King hesitated for a moment before nodding. "In that case, you must be willing to sacrifice everything for them, right?" Before the Beast King could react, he was already knocked unconscious by Yara's poison needle. Truth be told, women from other worlds often give birth to stillborn children, but there are ways to break this curse. If the mother drinks the blood of the child's father daily, the baby will surely be born safely. The only requirement is that the father must remain alive throughout this period, to prevent failure. I've been adding sacred herbs to the Beast King's daily pastries. I locked the Beast King in a dark chamber, drawing his blood daily. He went from cursing me to losing strength, eventually begging for his life whenever he saw me. The Beast King vanished without a trace, and I seized control of the entire Beast Kingdom by claiming the unborn child in my womb was his sole heir. Since I'd once taken a blade for the Beast King, none suspected I was the one who'd imprisoned him. 6. A month later, I gave birth to 5 tiger cubs, 3 males and 2 females. When I shared this joyous news with the captive Beast King, he weakly begged for mercy. "The child is safely delivered. Will you let me go now?" I smiled at him and enunciated each word deliberately. "Not a chance." The Beast King lunged at me in fury, only to be yanked back by his chains. "Why? Just tell me why you're doing this to me. Was our arrival here all part of your scheme from the beginning? You and your ancestors used forbidden rituals to summon us here, first exploiting our knowledge to build your kingdom, then turning us into breeding stock and medicinal ingredients when we outlived our usefulness. After seizing power, I deciphered the altar's secret texts and learned the truth. The Beast Kingdom was once a primitive wasteland until its high priest discovered how to summon women from other worlds. Initially, they sought only to borrow advanced knowledge from other civilizations. But when the kingdom prospered and they tried to end the summonings, they discovered our flesh could cure the royal bloodline's hereditary poison. Worse still, though children born to us had high mortality rates, the survivors grew stronger than ordinary beast folk. From that moment, we became nothing but royal medicine and breeding tools. I handed the Beast King over to Yara and left the chamber, the screams fading behind me. I led my deranged sister to the abandoned palace from our past life. Sister, drop the act, I know you're not mad. Her manic grin slowly faded as she met my gaze. How did you know? I scoffed. Someone like you would never lose their mind over a guilty conscience. Remember this place? She glanced around. What did you bring me here for? Don't you remember? This is where we both died in our past life. Her sister's face froze in shock. You remember that too? Impossible. How could you willingly become a bunny girl knowing the truth, sister? You're truly blessed. Cedric has been protecting you across lifetimes. Do you have any idea what it's like to be chained to a pillar, having your heart's blood drained daily? If not for that night with Cedric, you'd be half dead by now. Bless coin my ass, we're just livestock for those monsters. I wanted to tell her that in my past life, my only thought was to send her away before my death, to find her a safe place where she could live happily, but just as I had everything prepared to send her off, she burned me to death instead. After some thought, I shook my head. What's the point of saying all this now? I locked her in the cold palace and set the fire myself, sister. All grievances between us are settled now. I entered the altar and shattered the gemstone powering the teleportation array. From this moment onward, no innocent girls will ever be sent to this place again. They'll grow up freely under the golden sunlight where they belong. Story 2. My younger brother is a hopeless romantic. He was bitten by a zombie while trying to save his girlfriend, and it also caused our mother to turn into a zombie. But his girlfriend wasn't grateful for it. She not only called people to snatch the supplies we had painstakingly collected but also drove me and my father out of the room, but she didn't know that what goes around comes around. When she was devoured by a horde of zombies, no one would come to save her. 1. I was slacking off at work when a picture suddenly popped up on my computer, an urgent news broadcast. The zombie virus researched by Country M has leaked, and there has been cross-state infection. The virus spreads extremely fast. And so far, no solution has been found. Our country has controlled the people coming and going from Country M in the shortest possible time, but we don't know if the virus has an incubation period. We hope that the residents of our country don't go out recently and wait for the government supplies. This news was being looped on all the surrounding mobile phones and computers. The crowd instantly became chaotic. Since the country had issued a notice, the situation must be very urgent, too. I quickly opened the chat group of our loving family. The others should have seen this news too, and the call was connected immediately. My father spoke first. I just searched, and Country M has fallen in less than a day. It is estimated that there are no effective measures, otherwise the country wouldn't have announced this news directly. You two siblings don't care about anything else. Come back immediately. I dodged the oncoming vehicles. Because of the news, the road was in chaos. Country M is separated from our country by a sea, and this is a third-tier city. There are no people from Country M coming here recently. It will definitely be safe within a day or two. We must take advantage of these 2 days to stock up on things. Otherwise, even if we stay at home, we will run out of food, and then we will have to risk going out to find things, which is even more dangerous. We have to stock up on supplies now. Dad, you have more strength. You go and grab some food. Take whatever you can get and don't care about your manners. Food is something that can save our lives now. Mom, you go a little further and get some medicine from Madeline's clinic in the next district. Come back as soon as you get the medicine. There is a gardening store on my side. I'll go and buy some seeds, then we can grow some vegetables. Dominic, isn't there a bicycle repair shop at the back door of your school? You go and bring some tools back. It's better to be prepared, you know. My parents thought my words were feasible and agreed. Then we won't hang up the phone and keep in touch. Dominic, do you hear me? Dominic, my younger brother didn't say anything. I thought something had happened to him and called his name several times. Sister, Dominic is helping me pack things. We plan to go to the next county to pick up my mother first and then come to find you. It was the voice of my younger brother's girlfriend, Violet. She came from a single-parent family and only had her mother at home. In the apocalypse, more people mean more strength. It's understandable that her family wants to be with ours, but it will take too much time to pick up her mother first and then come here. I'm afraid it will be too late. Violet, it will take too much time for you to go and pick her up. Ask your mother to come directly. But my mother is old and not convenient to move. I'm afraid something will happen to her on the way. Don't worry, we will come back as soon as possible. I was a bit angry. After all, Violet was just my younger brother's girlfriend, not a family member. I didn't want my younger brother to risk his life. Violet, the zombies haven't broken out yet, and there is still time. It only takes 5 hours to come from the next county. The trains and high-speed rails are still running now. Your mother will definitely be able to come in the evening, if you go to pick her up. It will take at least a day to go back and forth, and you still need to prepare things, which will take even longer. There are too many variables in a day, and the supplies are in high demand now. It's also risky for you to carry them on the way, you know. There was no response from the other side. I called her and my younger brother's names several times, and finally the phone was hung up, hearing the sound of the phone being hung up. My father and mother were anxious and called several times in a row. Dad, don't call anymore. I won't let Violet go to pick up her mother alone. Did we say we wanted her to go alone? Ask her mother to come by herself. The zombies haven't broken out yet, and it's safe outside. Her mother will be fine coming here. It's also safe for me to go and pick her up. My father was so angry that he couldn't speak. Time is running out. You will waste time going back and forth, if... Before my father could finish speaking, Dominic hung up the phone. Anyway, I'm going with Violet. You don't need to worry. Just prepare the supplies and hide at home. I took a few deep breaths and said to them, suppressing my anger, Mom and Dad, don't worry. According to what I said earlier, go and prepare things and set up our base camp. I'll go find my younger brother as soon as I buy the seeds. We'll contact each other by phone if there's anything free. I rushed to the place where the seeds were sold. Sure enough, everyone had gone to the supermarket to grab things, and there was no one here. Even the store manager had left. I rushed in and took some common vegetable seeds, and also took a few packs of nutrient solution and bactericide. I filled my backpack, looked around, and took a shovel from the corner. I scanned a shared bicycle and rushed towards my younger brother's school. I also called him. Hello. The number you dialed is temporarily not answered. Please try again later. Hello, the number you dialed is temporarily not answered. Please try again later. The school gate was already crowded with people. People were carrying bags and desperately squeezing out of the school, trying to escape. There were constant conflicts among the crowd, and some people even fought because of it. I crossed the railing, went around into the grass, and came to the school dormitory. There were people coming and going around, and I didn't see my younger brother at all. I called him again and sent him messages and my location like crazy. Where are you? I'm downstairs in your dormitory. Are you crazy for running around at this time? Do you know how dangerous it is outside? We don't know when the zombies will break out. You still want to go and pick up her mother? Don't you care about your parents and your elder sister? Dominic, do you think you fell into a manure pit while going to the toilet? Your head is full of shit. Do you think you can live with yourself if something happens to you? Finally, Dominic replied to me after my bombardment. Sister, I can't just leave her alone. If I abandon her as soon as there's danger, am I still a man? Don't worry, I'm a sports student. I can take on 2 zombies at once. I'll be back soon. A cool expression. I felt a headache after seeing his message. I'm not asking you to abandon her. You can take her to our home first. Her mother has enough time to come here now. Dominic sent a photo of him and Violet making a victory sign and smiling at the train station. Sister, don't say anything. We're already on the train. I was so angry that I almost smashed my phone. That son of a bitch. I've spoiled him too much. He's lawless and has no brains at all. Does he know what the zombie outbreak means? This isn't a novel, and he's not the male protagonist, for I tried my best to suppress my anger and prepared to ride home. The main road was blocked, the stores were full of people, and everyone was grabbing things. It was chaotic all around. I rode my bike and turned into the alley on the left. Suddenly, I was knocked to the ground by a wooden stick, and my head hurt like needles. 2 big men blocked my way and snatched my bag. Damn it. I thought there was something good in her bag when she took the alley. It's all iron sheets, threads, and seeds. Damn, she's a waste collector. Forget it. Let's go. Don't waste time. Let's find the next target. After making sure they had gone far, I got up, picked up my school bag, and rode my bike away. Suddenly, I caught a glimpse of a cardboard box in the grass. I ran over and saw that there were 5 cans. Someone had hidden them here in a hurry and hadn't had time to cover them up. I quickly stuffed the cans to the bottom of my backpack, got on my bike, and rushed away. The person who hid the things would definitely come back to get them. I had to leave quickly. Sure enough, as soon as I rode out of the alley, I saw a man with blood on his face running past me and rushing straight to the place where the cans were hidden. I stepped on my bike desperately. When I came to the main road, it was extremely chaotic here. People were crowded together, and the cars couldn't move at all. I was looking for a way out when there were angry shouts from behind. You son of a bitch, stop for me. I turned around and saw the man with blood on his face. He found that the cans were missing and chased after me. There was no other way. I randomly found a road. The road sign said Wetland Park. Fortunately, it was downhill, and the speed was very fast, to avoid being caught up. I didn't dare to press the brakes and pedaled hard. I saw a boat not far away. It was winter, and the water flow wasn't urgent, and I had participated in a dragon boat race with my father before, so I was confident that I could cross the river. I jumped off my bike, and with inertia, I stumbled towards the boat. I took out a knife from my backpack, cut the rope, and threw the oars in my backpack onto the boat. Just as I was about to get on the boat, there were curses from behind. I was about to be caught up. I quickly threw the other oars onto my boat. I pushed the boat away with all my strength, jumped on the boat, and started rowing vigorously. Before I rowed more than 10 meters, he caught up. He stood on the shore and cursed at me, and also threw stones from the roadside at me. Several stones hit me, and the pain swept over me. I rowed the oars even faster. 5. When I rowed to the middle of the river, I found that the road on the other side led to the back door of my community. Under the cover of the woods, I climbed into a community. This was the neighboring community. As long as I walked in this direction, I could reach the back door of my own community in 20 minutes. Suddenly, the phone rang. It was my father. Meng Meng, have you found your younger brother? My father's voice was a bit stuffy, since there was no news for so long. He was a bit anxious. Dad, I didn't catch up with him. He's already on the train, but he's safe for now. Maybe he has enough time to pick up the person. We should just focus on preparing the supplies now. I'll be back in half an hour. How are you and Mom? When my mother heard that I didn't bring my younger brother back, she scolded me. Why didn't you go and find him immediately? What's the use of getting those seeds? Is your younger brother not more important than the seeds? My father sent her away and comforted me. Your mother had a smooth trip. There weren't many people there. She brought back a box of medicine. But we don't know if it's useful. We'll sort it out later. There were too many people in the supermarket. I managed to grab a piece of cured meat and a bag of dried tofu. Be careful on your way back. Ignore your mother. I don't blame my mother. I also regret not going to find Dominic right away. I was actually comforting myself when I comforted my father. It will be okay, since the country issued this news. There must be preventive measures. You stay at home and reinforce the windows and doors. I'll be back soon. I hung up the phone and rushed home. 6. Finally, I reached the back door of the community. I got through the railing and was about to go home. I saw 2 burly men guarding downstairs, and they were snatching the things that the residents had brought back. I quickly retreated to the railing and hid. If I went over now, the cans and seeds would be taken away by them. I took out the cans and seeds and hid them under the ivy. The ivy was very thick and it wasn't easy to be discovered. After hiding the things, I tidied myself up and then walked towards home. I pretended that I had run all the way back. When the fat man with a fierce expression stopped me, I showed a confused expression. They rummaged through my bag. When they found nothing, they let me go. When I got home, my mother stood up quickly. When she saw that I was alone, her eyes dimmed. My father saw my injured head and asked loudly, "What happened? How did you get injured?" I pulled him to sit on the sofa. "It's okay. I fell while riding my bike on the way back because I was going too fast. There's nothing else wrong." My father stood up. "I'll go and get some medicine to apply to you." I grabbed my mother's hand and comforted her. "Mom, don't worry. There's no news of zombies in the country yet. The trains are still running. Maybe we're just worrying for nothing, and we can still contact Dominic." Right. Before I could finish speaking, my mother interrupted me. "How can I not worry? It's so chaotic outside. He's just a child. What can he do? You went to his school. Why didn't you bring him back?" Just as I was about to explain, my father said, "What do you want Meng Meng to do? She came out of the company and even went to the school to find him. It's so chaotic outside. Why don't you worry about Meng Meng's safety? That brat ran around disobediently. If he dies outside, it's his own fault. You've spoiled him so much that he's lawless. He's still trying to be brave at this time." My father was so angry that he was shaking, and his voice became much louder. I quickly soothed him. "Dad, Mom, don't worry. I read the news on the way. Although it's chaotic now, it's still under control. And the police are out maintaining order." Ding, a video call came from my phone. It was Dominic. I quickly answered it, and Dominic's big face appeared on the screen. "Mom, Dad, Sister, we've arrived at Violet's home and picked up her mother. Don't worry, it's safe here. There are a few people here. We'll take the train back as soon as we pack our things." My mother snatched the phone. "Son, why are you so disobedient? Don't stay there. Come back quickly. Okay, be good. Come back quickly. Don't make Mom worry." "I know, Mom. On my way here, I didn't see anything unusual." "You're just exaggerating. I'll be back soon. Why are you crying?" "I'm fine." Dominic looked indifferent and even smiled. I said to him beside the phone, "Buy a ticket and come back now. Do you hear me?" Seeing my fierce expression, Dominic pouted. "Got it. I'll buy the ticket now. I'll hang up." After hanging up the phone, my mother started crying on the sofa again. I pressed my throbbing head and went to the kitchen to cook. After dinner and cleaning up, I sat on the sofa and called Dominic. "Have you set off yet?" Not yet. Violet's mother doesn't want to come over. At this moment, I couldn't hold back my anger anymore. If her mother doesn't want to come, then come back by yourself. You've already done more than enough by sending her home. But Violet wants to come with me. She's trying to persuade her mother now. Dominic, you're 22 years old and about to graduate. Do you understand what it means when even the country issues a notice asking people to stay at home? The zombies must have already broken out. It's just being suppressed. By being so willful, have you ever considered how Mom and Dad feel? Because of you, Mom has cried so much that her eyes are swollen, and she still hasn't slept. Tell me, if something happens to you, how are they supposed to go on living? Can't you be more sensible? Overwhelmed by emotions, I finally burst into tears. There was silence on the other end of the line. Only the sound of my suppressed sobs, after a long while. He said, "Sis, I get it. I'll take the next train home right away. I'll send you a message when I'm on the train." 7. Bang, bang, bang. Loud knocks echoed through the empty room. I quickly got up and crept to the door to listen for any movement outside. My father also came over, holding an iron rod in his hand. Bang, bang, bang. The knocking sounded again. A voice came from outside. "Open the door. The government is delivering supplies." "Open up." My father pulled me behind him. Cautiously opened the door a crack, and only after confirming that they were government workers did he open the door fully. The worker dropped a box at the door and said to my father, "This is a week's worth of supplies. Don't go out for the next few days." My father grabbed the worker's hand. "Comrade, my youngest son is still in the neighboring county and hasn't come back yet, then he should stay there and not go out." I took out my phone and said to him, "He bought a ticket for tomorrow afternoon's train and will arrive at 11 p.m. The worker clicked his tongue impatiently. At a time like this, he still won't stay put and insists on running around. He's really not afraid of death. If the zombies break out, let's see if he can run faster than them." When my father heard this, he panicked. "Are there really zombies?" The worker gave my father a disdainful look. "The country has issued a notice. Do you think this is a drill? Just stay at home and don't go anywhere." I patted my father on the back and comforted him. "It's okay, he'll be home by this time tomorrow. It'll be soon." But we both knew these were just words of comfort. 8. The supplies delivered were far too few. There was barely enough food to last 4 people a week, let alone Violet and her mother. So in the morning, my father and I decided to check the nearby supermarkets and stores to see if there was anything left. There were many others with the same idea, but the supermarket had been completely emptied, leaving only the shelves. Suddenly, screams rang out in the distance. The crowd pushed and shoved their way inside. I turned around and saw a zombie biting a woman's neck. Blood spurted out, splattering everyone in front. The zombie outbreak had begun. I was pushed forward by the crowd and struggled to keep myself from falling. Suddenly, a large hand grabbed my back. I turned around and saw it was my father. He bent down and said to me, "Head right later. There's a passage that leads out, just at the next intersection. Come on, turn right." I followed my father's lead, turning right, then left, and winding through alleys until we reached the back door of the supermarket. Before opening the door, my father peeked through the crack to make sure it was safe. We cautiously made our way home, but were suddenly blocked by a zombie in front of us. My father picked up a stick lying on the ground and shielded me, trying to find a detour, but there was also a zombie on the left. If we tried to break through, the noise would attract more zombies. Suddenly, someone jumped out of a second-floor window, followed by a horde of zombies. The loud noise distracted the 2 zombies in front of us. 9. My father and I took the opportunity to hurry into the alley and make our way home. Outside, there were even more zombies everywhere. Along with bitten people, a zombie charged at us, but my father knocked it away with a stick. For every zombie we fended off, another one came. Soon, a whole group was chasing us. I shouted to my father, "Dad, there's an abandoned garage over there." We ran into the garage, then out the back door, closing and blocking it with a stick. The zombies were trapped inside the garage, with zombies all around us. We hid on the second floor of a garbage station, waiting for a chance to leave. I took out my phone to send a message to Dominic. Thankfully, I could still make calls. "Dominic, is it safe where you are? There are already zombies in our neighborhood. There hasn't been an outbreak here yet. Then stay there and don't come back. It's very dangerous here. I'm not sure if we can hold out at home." "No, I have to come to you." "What for?" "To be zombie food." I was irritated by Dominic's childish stubbornness. "Just stay put. Maybe we'll have to come to you later." Footsteps approached from not far away. I quickly hung up the phone and muted it. Thankfully, it wasn't zombies. It was a man, probably also trying to escape the zombies. We nodded at each other, seeing that there were already people here. The man didn't come any closer and hid at a distance, around 5 or 6 in the morning. After the armed police forces suppressed the zombies, there were far fewer left. My father and I took the opportunity to make our way home. When my mother saw us, she finally relaxed. She sobbed and said that Dominic had already returned and was now at the train station. My father slammed his hand on the table and stood up. This is madness. What's he doing coming back? To get himself killed? There are zombies everywhere. It took your sister and me a whole day to make the 1,000-meter journey back from the supermarket. How's he planning to get here? Fly? Or do we have the means to go and pick him up? My mother looked uncomfortable. There's also a zombie outbreak where he is. The situation is extremely serious. It's almost become a zombie-infested county. Dominic was brought here by the armed police and is currently staying at the train station. I comforted my parents. Then don't worry. With so many zombies outside, we can't be sure our home is safe. At the train station, with the armed police there, Dominic is definitely safer than here. 10. I turned on my phone to search for information about the zombies. Just then, Dominic called. Sis, the train station has been overrun by zombies. Violet and I escaped and are now by the river behind the neighborhood. When my mother heard this, she quickly said to Dominic, Dominic, don't panic. I'll ask your father to come and pick you up right away. Just stay hidden and don't come out. I took the phone from her. Stay hidden. Zombies mainly rely on smell to identify their prey. Cover yourselves with dirt to mask your scent, and don't make too much noise. Dad and I are coming to get you. I asked my mother to gather all the hard objects in the house and tie them to our bodies to make makeshift armor. We also grabbed sticks as weapons. I reminded my father, when we fight them, aim for their legs and arms. It's hard to kill them by hitting other parts. Just disable their movement. We then poured vinegar, soy sauce, perfume, and shampoo all over ourselves to further mask our scent. With so many zombies in the neighborhood, it took us over 3 hours to reach the back gate. Dominic wasn't there, so we decided to look for him outside the neighborhood. As soon as we stepped out, we ran into a zombie. We quickly turned back towards the neighborhood, but the commotion attracted more zombies. We had no choice but to turn and run along the river. One zombie was incredibly fast. It caught up in an instant, grabbed my hair, and threw me to the ground. The next moment, it lunged at my face. I quickly blocked with my hand, and the zombie sank its teeth into the cardboard armor. Seeing this, my father rushed back and struck the zombie on the head, knocking it aside. I kicked it away with all my might. Are you okay? Did it bite you? The zombie got up and lunged at my father. I quickly crouched down and swept its legs, knocking it over, then smashed its legs with the stick. The zombie let out a terrifying roar. My father pulled me up and said, "Run, more zombies will be coming." The zombies kept chasing us. Because my father was getting on in years and his strength was failing, his speed slowed down. I tried to pull him along, but we still couldn't pick up the pace. And the zombies were closing in. 10 meters, 5 meters. My father broke free from my grasp, trying to make me run ahead. Sis, Dad, over here. Suddenly, Dominic's voice came from up ahead. My father and I picked up our pace. When we were still 10 meters away from Dominic, I told my father to swim across the river first. Dad, these zombies probably can't swim. You go first. Ming Ming, come with me. My father stopped and grabbed my hand, wanting us to go together. I pushed him towards the water. Go quickly, don't waste time, or we'll both die. Don't worry, I'm younger and stronger, and remember, I won a swimming championship in the city. Go. My father listened and swam towards Dominic as fast as he could. He knew that every second he wasted put me in more danger. The zombies caught up, and I started hitting them with my stick. Thankfully, my father made me learn Taekwondo when I was a kid. For the time being, the zombies couldn't pose a serious threat to me. More and more zombies gathered, and some even entered the river and started swimming towards my father. My father was almost exhausted from the earlier escape. Only his will to survive kept him going. By now, he had only swum 4 or 5 meters. I quickly picked up stones and threw them into the water, trying to stop the zombies. Dominic also jumped into the water to help my father. With Dominic's help, my father finally escaped danger. The zombies in the water lost their strength and sank, seeing my father reach the shore. I hit the zombies a few more times, then turned and ran, using my momentum to dive into the water. With the help of my father and Dominic, I finally got on the boat. I lay on the boat, gasping for breath. Violet quickly brought me a towel to dry myself. Dominic leaned over and teased me. Those moves against the zombies were awesome. Guess all those times you beat me up when we were kids weren't for nothing. My father gave him a hard knock on the head and glanced at Violet. Thanks to you. You little troublemaker, running around everywhere and making your sister and me come all the way to find you. Violet hid behind Dominic, and Dominic put his arm around my father's shoulder and joked, I'm safe and sound, aren't I? 11. We tried to steer the boat towards the shore, but there were zombies wandering around everywhere. Every time we tried to dock, zombies would swarm towards us. Some even followed the boat as we moved. We had no choice but to stay on the boat and wait for an opportunity. At a rocky spot, we managed to sneak ashore. This time, luck seemed to be on our side. We made it all the way to the iron fence of the neighborhood without encountering any zombies. I pointed to the ivy. I hid some cans here. You guys hide first, and I'll get them and then we'll go up. As soon as I took out the first can and turned around, I saw Dominic standing next to a trash can not far away. And there was a zombie just 10 meters behind him. What the hell are you doing? I spread my hands, looking at him in disbelief. He seemed to understand my gesture. He pointed to the clothes in front of him and then at Violet, indicating that he was picking up clothes for her. I was so angry I could have exploded. I told him to stay hidden, and yet he risked his life to pick up clothes. What was he thinking? Didn't he know that life was more important? Violet saw the zombie and exclaimed, "Watch out!" But her cry alerted several more zombies, which emerged from the corners and started heading our way. Run! My father and I took off towards the building. We hadn't run far when Violet fell. Dominic reached out to help her, and the zombie behind him caught up. My father and I had no choice but to turn back and fend off the zombies. More and more zombies surrounded us, trapping us on the ground. They lunged at us, trying to bite. The stench from their rotting mouths filled the air, and thick, black slime dripped onto my face. The cardboard armor on my body was getting torn to shreds, and I could barely hold on. 12. Someone rushed over and kicked the zombies off us. A tall, tough-looking person stood in front of us. Did any of you get bitten? Several other burly men were also fighting the zombies. They were wearing protective suits and using shields to knock the zombies down with ease. Among them were the two fat men who had tried to rob us at the gate last time. With their cover, we managed to escape back into the building. "Hello, we're the neighborhood security team. I'm the captain, Elijah." My father went over and shook his hand. "Hello, I'm Dylan. This is my son Dominic, his girlfriend Violet, and my daughter, Victoria. We owe you our lives. Thank you so much." My father squeezed his hand tightly, his eyes reddening slightly. Elijah smiled at my father. "Don't mention it. But we don't save people for nothing." My father was taken aback for a moment, then quickly understood. Of course. But all we had was that single can we'd found earlier, and Dominic and the others had lost their supplies on the way. Elijah looked displeased. "TSK, you guys are really broke." My father was about to explain when Violet stepped forward, looking pitiful. "Don't be angry. We still have some supplies at home." She then turned to my father. "Uncle, they just saved our lives. Let's give them everything. We should be grateful." The bald, fat man who had tried to rob us before walked over, his eyes leering at Violet. "Pretty lady, you're so sensible. How about coming with me? You won't get anywhere with these weaklings." Dominic struggled to his feet and pointed at the fat man. "What did you say?" The fat man pushed Dominic roughly. "I'm talking about you, useless piece of trash." It looked like a fight was about to break out. Elijah glared at the fat man. "Eric, behave yourself." Eric glared back defiantly but was pulled away by another fat man. As he left, he spat on the ground in Elijah's direction. "What a fake, all show, and no substance." Pa. Elijah didn't care about Eric's attitude and remained calm. I looked at Violet's exposed cleavage on purpose in front of Elijah and raised my eyebrows. "Who said we won't give it?" My dad was just about to say something. "Who knew you were in such a hurry? People who don't know might think we're ungrateful." "While you're the kind-hearted one," Violet quickly explained in a flustered manner, "I was just in a hurry and didn't notice, Uncle. I'm sorry. Tears welled up in her eyes, as if I had bullied her. I rolled my eyes. "She's like a glutton at a buffet, always pretending." "Violet, it's okay. I know you were just too anxious. It's not your fault." Dominic walked over and hugged Violet, comforting her softly. I rolled my eyes. I never knew my younger brother was such a fool before. Elijah looked at us playfully and smiled. "Let's go." 13. After Elijah's group got the things, they left. After the scare, we all lay on the ground to rest. Suddenly, Dominic started convulsing. When we checked carefully, we found that his arm was covered with dense bite marks. He had been bitten by a zombie while protecting Violet. The wound had rotted and was dripping black blood. His face was also very pale. His lips were white, and he was sweating profusely. "Dominic, my Dominic." My mother held Dominic's body and kept calling his name. "Dominic, you'll be okay. Mom is gone, and I can't lose you too." Violet grabbed my younger brother's hand and cried bitterly. My mother suddenly pushed Violet like a madwoman and slapped her twice. "You're a jinx. If it weren't for you, Dominic wouldn't have gone out. Get out of here." Violet covered her slapped face. "Auntie, we were already safely in the neighborhood. It was sister who said to get the cans. Without supplies, it would be hard for us to survive. This is for everyone." My mother listened to Violet's words and turned to glare at me. Is what she said true? My heart skipped a beat. Wasn't it because Dominic went to pick up clothes for her and her shout attracted the zombies? How could she shift the blame? Before I could refute, my mother raised her hand and slapped me. "You killed your younger brother. Remember, it's you." My father stepped forward to stop her. Enough, stop making a scene. Isn't it chaotic enough? Dominic grabbed my hand. Sister, it's not your fault. I was just being willful and refused to go home and ran out. But this was my own decision, and no one else is to blame. I just wanted to prove that I have the ability to protect others. Dominic became weaker and weaker. His eyes were barely open, and his hand holding mine was burning hot. I clenched my fists to hold back my tears. But I couldn't help it. Dominic was still struggling to give his last words. And my mother was crying uncontrollably. Dad, Mom, Sister, I have one last thing to ask you. Take care of Violet. She's pregnant, and it's my child. Can you treat her like family and protect her and take care of her? The air froze for a moment. Getting pregnant at this time was really troublesome. My mother stared at her slightly bulging belly. With anger, pain, and a hint of hope on her face, she held Dominic's hand tightly. Okay, Mom promises you. I'll protect her and your child. I won't let anything happen to them, okay? Dominic forced a smile and reached out to touch Violet. Suddenly, his eyes became empty, he foamed at the mouth, and his limbs started convulsing. My mother held Dominic tightly and cried bitterly. Violet let out a scream in fear and jumped behind the cabinet. My father rushed over and helped my mother restrain Dominic to prevent him from biting. Hurry, get the rope. I quickly brought the rope. Dominic had completely turned into a zombie and was very strong. My father and mother had a hard time holding him down. I ran over and tried to tie his feet with the rope. As soon as I touched his feet, I was kicked away. I called for Violet, but she was too scared by Dominic's appearance and cowered in the corner and didn't dare to come out. There was no other way. I could only hold down his feet and use my feet to hook the rope. Dad, hold his hands together. My father held his hands tightly. I quickly wrapped the rope around, wound it several times, and then tightened it and tied a knot. Then I turned around and tied his legs as well. I picked up a piece of cloth and stuffed it into his mouth. My father and I originally wanted to take Dominic downstairs. After all, it wasn't safe to keep him at home, but my mother refused firmly. The government broadcast that the vaccine is being developed. Once the vaccine comes out, there's a chance for Dominic to recover. I absolutely won't agree to taking him downstairs. If you want to throw him down, you'll have to throw me down too. In the end, we had no choice but to lock him in the toilet. 14, since Violet was pregnant. She was given priority for food, and she wasn't asked to do any housework. After half a month, we were skinny from hunger, but she had gained a little weight. Our food reserves were gone, so my father and I decided to go out and look for something, taking a chance. As soon as we got to the neighborhood, we met Elijah's 5-person team. He invited me to join the team. I wasn't willing. Eric and their team made me feel uneasy, but my father thought that more people meant more support. Helplessly, I could only tell him to be careful of Eric, because there were more people. They decided to take a risk and go to the neighboring commercial street. When we got to the commercial street, there were a lot of zombies, but because we were well prepared and had smeared spices on ourselves, the surrounding zombies didn't attack us immediately. We successfully entered the store and split up in pairs to search for things. My father and I were looking for milk powder. Elijah stood not far away. Suddenly, the alarm in the mall went off, and the fire sprinklers above started spraying water. Since this area was quite open and the water volume was large, soon, we were all soaked. The zombies were attracted by the alarm and rushed over. Eric and another person sneaked to the back door and ran away. When we chased after them, he had already locked the door and thrown away the key. He walked away and gave Elijah the middle finger. We started smashing the door, but it was tempered glass and very hard to open. The water just now diluted the smell on us, and the zombies smelled us and chased after us. There was no other way. We could only split up and look for a way out. Over here, there's a window open. Come quickly, Finn shouted at us. He was going to jump down first and coordinate with us. I quickly stopped him. What are you doing? The zombies are coming. I quickly took out a rope from my bag and handed it to him. It's safer to use this. Elijah looked at me in surprise. Are you Doryman? Can you give me that gun? I ignored him. Finn safely reached the ground along the rope. As soon as I went down, a glass bottle exploded next to me. It was Eric. They were about 10 meters ahead of us. Elijah and my father also jumped down in a hurry. When Eric saw that we had all come down, he quickly drove away. Finn angrily threw a stick at the car, but unfortunately, it was too far away and didn't hit. Damn it. I knew he dared to attract the zombies because he had a car. Elijah gave him a tap on the head. Since you knew the zombies were attracted, why didn't you run? We hid in a store. It had been emptied, and there was a bedroom at the back with an exit. There were zombies outside, and we had no way out, so we could only hide here for now. 15. At night, Elijah woke me up and said he was taking me to scavenge for things. We went next door. It was a warehouse. It was well hidden and hard to find, so the things were still there. It was indeed a good place to scavenge. Because of Eric's betrayal, Elijah didn't plan to go back to the neighborhood for the time being, but my mother and Violet were still in the neighborhood. They couldn't move easily, so my father and I had to come here to get things on time. I filled a bag with things. Elijah reminded me to take less. Eric was still in the neighborhood. I asked Elijah, "Do you plan to hide here all the time?" He looked up at me and smiled. "Don't worry, I'll deal with Eric." He escorted us to the corridor and then left. When we opened the door, a strong smell of blood hit us. The living room was full of blood, and there were traces of crawling. I quickly rushed to the toilet and bumped into Dominic, who rushed towards me with his mouth wide open. I sidestepped to avoid him and kicked him to the ground. He quickly got up and waved his hand to grab me. Before I left, I specifically checked. He hadn't eaten for several days and was very weak. He didn't have much strength. Why did he become so strong now? A bad thought flashed through my mind, and I wanted to call my father for help, but my father's painful cries came from outside. "Ah, Clara, Mom, what happened to my mother?" I didn't care about anything else. I picked up the stick in my hand, drove my younger brother into the toilet, locked the door, and ran out immediately. I saw my father wrapping my mother, who had turned into a zombie, with a blanket and crying bitterly. My mother's eyes were empty, and she struggled fiercely. Her mouth kept trying to bite my father. How could this happen? Where was Violet? I followed the bloodstains on the ground and walked to the bedroom door. "Violet, Violet, are you in there? Sister, sister, help me, help me." When she heard my voice, she quickly opened the door. Violet was covered in blood. I helped her up and laid her on the bed, then brought various medicines and fed them to her. What happened? Why was Mom bitten? She threw herself into my arms. Auntie wanted to go to the toilet to see Dominic. She said he would starve to death after not eating for so many days and wanted to cut my hand to get some blood for him. She said that since I'm pregnant, my blood is more nutritious. I didn't agree because I was afraid something would go wrong, but Auntie forcefully cut my hand with a knife and filled a container with blood to feed Dominic. I was bandaging my wound outside and heard Auntie's screams. When I ran over, I saw that Dominic had broken free from the rope and Auntie was pinned to the ground by him. When I went to help, I was pushed to the ground by Auntie, and I had a miscarriage. As she said this, her voice became more choked up, as if she was about to faint at any moment. After a while, Auntie also turned into a zombie and tried to rush up and bite me. I ran back to the room desperately and managed to escape. "Sister, I'm so scared." Whoa. I settled her down and went back to the living room. My father had tied my mother up and placed her on a stool. Her right hand was empty, and her eyes were gray, staring blankly ahead and mechanically making biting movements. I told my father what Violet had told me, and he roared, "It's impossible. Your mother wouldn't take Violet's blood to feed him no matter how confused she was. You know how much your mother values the child in her belly. By the way, there seems to be 16. Before I could finish speaking, there was a knock on the door. "Open the door, it's Eric. Don't hide inside and not make a sound. I know you're home. If you don't come out, I'll start smashing." I quickly locked the door and pushed the refrigerator over to block it. My father immediately hid my mother and my younger brother. Eric was prying open the door. As soon as they opened a crack and stuck their heads in, I hit one of them with a stick. "Damn it, you bitch." The person who was hit was furious, pushed the refrigerator away, and came in and fought with us. They were too big in size, and there were many of them. Soon, they tied my father and me up and threw us on the ground. Eric looked at the blood all over the floor and stared at my father and me suspiciously. "Have you been bitten? Where's Elijah? Where is he hiding? If you don't tell me, I'll throw you down." I kicked away the hand of the person who came to grab me. We met zombies on the way back. Elijah was accidentally bitten by a zombie, so we separated from him. I don't know where he is. If you want to find Elijah, go find him. There's no need to trouble us. We have no conflict of interest. I didn't know what Elijah's plan was, but it couldn't be a bad thing to make Eric relax his vigilance. I showed weakness to him and was willing to give him all the things at home. Eric walked into the room where Violet was, and the others searched for things outside. The house was turned upside down by them, and they didn't even spare the half-drunk water. He carried Violet out, and along with her was the medicine box I had hidden outside the window. I glared at Violet. She was a fence-sitter and immediately switched to a new backer when something was wrong. Eric kicked me in the stomach. "If you look again, I'll dig out your eyes." Dominic and my mother, who were hiding in the toilet, were also caught. Eric looked at me in surprise. "You have a strange taste. You keep zombies at home. Kill them." I quickly said to him, "No, this is my mother and my younger brother. They were bitten while running away. The vaccine is being developed, isn't it?" We want to keep them at home, maybe there's a way for them to recover. They were usually locked in the toilet and won't cause any trouble. Eric stared at the two zombies, frowned, and said to the people next to him, "Is there anything else? If not, let's get ready to leave." Violet shook his arm. "It's too dangerous to keep the zombies at home. Auntie became a zombie after being bitten by Dominic. If they run out, this building won't be safe." I stared at her in disbelief. I couldn't believe she would say such a thing. Violet carefully grabbed Eric's arm and shrank into his arms. "I'm just afraid that the tragedy will happen again. Auntie had an accident, didn't she? If I hadn't dodged quickly, I would have become a zombie too." Eric winked at the people around him. "Do it." My father and I rushed up to stop them and protected my mother and my younger brother with our bodies, but the gap was too big, and we were knocked down to the ground again. I begged Eric, "Stop hitting us. I'll send them downstairs immediately and won't keep them at home." Eric stepped on Dominic's face and crushed it hard. Dominic's fingers were broken because of his struggle. "It's too late." A cruel smile appeared on his face. In front of us, he tore Dominic's head off, and black blood flowed all over the ground. I could even see the blurred flesh and blood exposed by the tearing. They carried the bodies of Dominic and my mother and threw them downstairs. A few seconds later, a huge sound came from downstairs. My father's eyes turned red, and he tried to fight them with his last bit of strength. All he got was a ruthless beating. Finally, they were tired from hitting us and prepared to leave. Violet grabbed Eric's hand. "Eric, they hid cans in the neighborhood, and she knows where they are. I kept those cans in case of such a situation. There was nothing to eat at home, and those cans could at least relieve our hunger. I originally planned to get them after they left, but she told Eric, she's trying to kill us all." I saw a smile in Violet's eyes that she couldn't hide. "Why, my younger brother turned into a zombie while protecting you, and you had my younger brother's child in your belly." I deliberately revealed that she was pregnant. "I don't believe Eric would want a burden." "Haha, sister, I wasn't really pregnant. I lied to you. Otherwise, how could you willingly give things to me? As for Dominic, that useless guy, if he wasn't useless, how could my mom have been bitten by a zombie? He deserved to die." Before in the neighborhood, I deliberately asked him to get the clothes. I also deliberately led the zombies over. I wanted him to try and save me. Let me tell you one more thing. The country sent a message yesterday saying that the vaccine has entered the clinical trial stage and will be available soon, but I threw your brother and your mom downstairs. On the 20th floor, they must have been smashed into pieces. The vaccine won't work for them anymore. Haha, I'm going to kill you. I picked up the stick on the ground and rushed towards her regardless. I must kill her. This bitch is the one who made my family fall apart. But before I could reach her, I was stopped by Eric's men and got another beating. I was beaten unconscious. 17. When I woke up, it was already dark. Every move made my whole body ache. My father was lying not far away and hadn't woken up yet. Enduring the pain, I got up, dragged him into the room, locked the door, and went out to find Elijah. When he saw me like this, he was shocked and thought I had been bitten. I told him what had happened. He said with a hint of apology, "This is my negligence. I will avenge you. I will also bring your father here. You should have a good rest." I couldn't hold on any longer and fell into a deep sleep. In my dream, I repeatedly dreamed of the scene where Dominic and the others were pushed downstairs, and Violet's face. I woke up screaming and found my father by my side. The wound on his body had been treated, and he had eaten something. He looked in good condition. He stroked my head. "Good child, have a good sleep. Don't think too much." After my father left the room, I opened my eyes. The government issued another broadcast saying that the zombie vaccine had entered the mass production stage, and the zombies would be controlled soon. All this chaos would end. But my younger brother and my mother couldn't come back. Violet, the one who caused all this, wouldn't be punished either. I absolutely won't agree. The plan must be carried out as soon as possible. 18. We planned to lead Eric and his group to the rooftop. There were no zombies there, and there was no way to escape. They would deal with Eric, and I would deal with Violet. In the past half-month, we had figured out Eric's route of action. They would go out to search for supplies every day and would definitely be home before 7. I saw their figures on the rooftop. I quickly threw a stone towards the shade downstairs and told my father, "They're back." My father carried a bag on his back and sneaked out of the neighborhood. He ran into Eric and his group head-on. When they saw my father, he quickly turned around and limped into the neighborhood. Eric looked at my father's embarrassed back and said to the people beside him, "The lame guy runs quite fast." After that, he ran in the same way as my father, causing a burst of laughter. They split into 3 groups to surround my father. Helplessly, he could only run into the building. Eric and his group laughed even more wildly, holding iron bars. They walked slowly, as if they were taking a stroll. He whistled. "We didn't get anything today. I thought we'd be hungry, but someone came to us." Alas, our luck can't be stopped. He knocked the iron bar on the railing, making an ear-piercing sound. My father panicked even more and fell to the ground in the chaos. While running, he was looking for a room to hide in, but all the doors were locked. He desperately knocked on the door, but no one opened it. Eric even kindly reminded him, "Stop knocking. This room is mine." Ha ha ha. Finally, my father was forced to run to the rooftop. Eric's voice was getting closer, and he even whistled. As soon as he stepped onto the rooftop, he was attacked by Elijah, and a refrigerator was smashed onto him. The people around him quickly reacted and hid back in the corridor, only he was left groaning under the refrigerator. Elijah jumped down from above. When the others saw it was Elijah, they rushed up and fought with him. My father and Finn also rushed up from behind. A few more people joined the fight, but they were all Elijah's men. The people beside Eric were quickly knocked down. I walked up to Eric and squatted down. I took the key from him. I stopped in front of a door and opened it with the key. Violet's voice came from the inner room. "Why are you back so late today?" I walked in and saw Violet washing clothes with her back to me. I leaned against the door and knocked. Violet turned around. When she saw it was me, she let out a scream and quickly jumped aside. Holding a toilet brush, she said in a flustered voice, "You're still alive. Don't come over. Eric will be back soon." I slowly approached her step by step, snatched the toilet brush from her hand, and slapped her with it. "Eric, he's probably feeding the zombies on the rooftop." When she heard my words, she immediately tried to run past me. I stretched out my leg and tripped her to the ground. I pressed her down and slapped her in the face. "This slap is for Dominic, and this one is for my mom." After that, I didn't say anything and kept slapping her face to vent my anger. My hand hurt from slapping her. With her hair in a mess and her face swollen like a steamed bun, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Sister, I was wrong. I had no choice. Eric forced me. If I didn't do as he said, he would kill me. I just want to stay alive. Sister, please let me go. You promised Dominic that you would take care of me." I ignored her excuses and slammed her head against the wall. I tied up her hands and feet and dragged her all the way to the bottom of the building. Her legs were scratched, and the blood kept flowing. Zombies started to appear around us. She was too scared to make a sound. I squatted down and looked into her eyes and said, "Explain the rest to Dominic." I hung her on a tree and left. A group of zombies gathered under the tree. Her blood made the zombies extremely excited, and they reached up and grabbed wildly. "Help, let me down. Victoria, you're crazy. I won't let you go even if I become a ghost." "Sister, I know I was wrong. Sister, please. There are still a lot of cans at home, and I can give them to you." Violet was so scared by the zombies below that she started talking incoherently. "Dominic, why didn't you die? It's you who killed my mom. You had a chance to pull my mom back, because you were timid and cowardly. My mom was bitten by the zombies that cut up later. My dad died when I was a child, and my mom raised me alone. Why did my mom have to die instead of you? Dominic, why didn't you die?" Actually, I wasn't pregnant with your child. I lied to you. I was the one who killed your mom. What do you think? Did your mom taste good? Ha ha ha. Just die." In the end, she was almost crazy, laughing and crying like a madwoman. 19. I walked away without looking back. In fact, I knew that Violet was the one who killed my mom. There were surveillance cameras at home. We didn't have time to check them when Eric suddenly showed up last time. Later, my father and I found some time to check the surveillance and saw the whole process of my mom's death. After my father and I went out, when my mom was tidying up the room, she found the used sanitary napkin that Violet had hidden in the room. She ran over to question Violet. Violet tried to argue, but my mom wouldn't listen and just wanted to drive her out. When my mom entered the room, Violet went to the toilet. Then she ran out and lured my mom next to the toilet. When my mom wasn't paying attention, she pushed her onto Dominic. The rope on Dominic loosened, and he grabbed my mom's neck and bit down. Blood spurted all over the place. She quickly smeared the blood on herself, then crawled into the room and pretended to have a miscarriage and run away. I went back to the rooftop. I didn't see Eric and his men. There were only Elijah, my father, and his friends. We looked at each other, picked up our things, and went back to the room. The government started distributing the vaccine, and the zombies were under control. Everything was getting back on track. My father and I quit our jobs and went back to our hometown. When we left, Elijah came to see us off. "Are you really going back to your hometown?" I nodded. "Yes, the hometown has a large area. If there's another terrifying crisis, there's a place to hide, and there are fewer people there." He smiled and stroked my head. "Then I wish you a safe journey. Goodbye, goodbye."